hear me, let me know. If you can hear me, very, very delighted to be here. Good afternoon, everybody. If you're a first time subscriber, welcome on board. I'm very happy to be here, and we're going to be discussing real estate. And on today's episode, we're going to be looking at the impact of the Lagos Calabar Coastal Road. And I've not had videos for a very long time. So this is due to the fact that um, I've been very, very busy. Don't mind her, that's my daughter. She plays a lot. All right, so if you are on this live session, let me know. Okay, sorry for the lights. Okay, all right. So if you're on this live session, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Um, I had to come on this particular live because of necessity, and of course because of some recent discoveries that I have to share with real estate investors. More importantly, those who are investing in Ibeju Lekki. I've not had to rest. I'm just leaving the site now, and there's a lot for us to talk about today. So we're going to be looking at what is going to be the consequence, okay, of the Lagos Calabar Coastal Road. But before we go into that deeper, we're going to be looking at some of the advantages. So before we are going to be talking about some other fundamental things. So in case you're on this live, thank you very much for joining. Okay, and if you are just joining us for the first time, I'm delighted that you are here. Thank you for joining us. If you are new to this channel, this is King's Court TV, where I expose matters relating to real estate. I've talked extensively about uh, real estate manipulations. I've talked about some fraudulent activities. I've talked about how not to get, scammed. Sorry. I've talked extensively about some topical issues concerning real estate. So if you have been following us, I want to assure you that you're on the right place. So please just give this video a like so that YouTube can, recommend it to other viewers who are there. And for those who have been following us, I want to quickly say a very big thank you. I thank you for your time. I thank you for your patience. So please just endeavor to double tap to give us a like. Thank you very much. So let's talk about the Lagos Calabar Coastal Road. The project is still ongoing, and there's this. Okay, so there's this particular video that has been trending online of real estate investors expressing their concerns. There was this accusation that was actually labeled of the particular real estate developer, and a lot of people don't have the slightest idea of how an investment should be done and what kind of investment should you do. In as much as fact that having an investment in where we are having some of these projects will give you an added economic advantage, it is also paramount for us to understand what are the risks that are attached, because if anybody is projecting real estate to you and such person is not giving you a holistic emphasis on the advantages and the risk, then I would say that such individual is not a thorough professional, and I would say that such individual only cares about his own personal greed and the likes. So presently, right now, the first phase of the Lagos Calabar Coastal Road is about to be completed. But before I go into what I tag as the benefits, let me quickly explain the disadvantages of the project. So I'm going to start by explaining the disadvantages. So if you own an investment in this region, then you can begin to find a way. Like, the purpose of this video basically is not to scare you. What I do basically is that I open you up to the reality of what is going on so that you can know if there is a need, okay, for you to safeguard your investment, if there are things for you to do in order to ensure that your investments are safe, they will say information is key. And what are the major disadvantages of the Lagos Calabar Coastal Road? Now, the first disadvantage basically was that many of us saw in the news that there was a readjustment to the road alignment. Okay, the alignment was supposed to cut across the front of Igondo Urudu, and from our research and investigation, the Minister of Works, in the person of Dr. David Umai, actually said that they calculated, the catastrophic implications of what it will cost if they begin to demolish the places. So, in other words, they changed the road alignment, and as I'm talking to you right now, a lot of estates are presently affected. Now, a lot of people have been saying, should you come online to explain this? I think it's very important that if you are investing in Ibeju Lekki or you are investing in any other part of Lagos, it is very important that we explain and open you to some of the circumstances, and of course for you to have an idea of the risk as well as the opportunity. Because like I said, what many people are interested in doing basically is just for them to project the opportunities and ignore the fact. Because you see, for you to make a good investment decision, you need to have a holistic, have a thorough understanding, okay, of the circumstances, so that if you are making an investment, you will understand what are your risks and what are the chances. So the first thing basically right now is that from the Eleko junction, okay, down to the Museyo, down to the Akodo, and down to as far as La Campagne Tropicana, down to the Ogun State part of Ibeju Lekki, larger part of estates have been affected by the coastal road. And it is very important that we explain and analyze what is actually going on. Now, there are real estate development company that sold projects and properties within this axis. And one of the things I've come to realize basically is that while some other development companies are making alternatives for their investors, others have kept mute. And I would say it's rather unfortunate that such circumstances like this is happening. So, larger percent of estates right from the Eleko axis down to Akodo, Museyo, some part of the free trade zone are even affected by this coastal road, and down to, if you look at the Kegun, the Folu, the Igbogun, and going to the Odiomi and the Ogun State parts of Ibeju Lekki are affected by the coastal road. Now, a lot of real estate investors have reached out to me, and one of the things they said is that, what can we do, or what should we do? Now, the first thing you need to do basically is that, if it is possible, okay, try as much as you can, okay, to contact the real estate developer that have sold to you. That's one of the things that you need to do, instead of panicking or showing concerns about what could be, the catastrophic event of these activities. I think the first thing you need to do basically is to contact the real estate development company that have sold to you. That's the first thing you need to do. Then the next thing you also need to do basically is that you need to start doing a proper documentation of the property. That one is very important. We stress that. Now, the reason why it was easier for governments to take possessions of lands due to the coastal road basically is that the moment you drive past the Museyo and the Akoro part of Ibeju Lekki, 70% of properties don't have good title documentation. And this is one of the reasons, and I would say some of the challenges that some real estate developers will encounter. Because right now, if you don't have document right now, if you're supposed to pay some certain amount of money for documentation, let's say in 2020, 2021, now that there's an existing coastal road project, you'll be paying more. So one of the major disadvantages, okay, about delaying your documentation in Lagos is that you get to pay more. But that obviously is not, the bone of contention, or that should not form the core of our conversation. I think what should form the core of our conversation is, what can you do? Now, so you need to reach out to the company, find out what they are trying to do. There are some real estate companies that are already reallocating their investors. One of the major things I usually explain to real estate investors basically is that don't just buy and go to sleep. A lot of things are happening on the ground, and one of the reasons why most of these things are happening perpetually is due to the fact that many real estate investors buy and go to sleep. So in as much as fact that this is the present reality of what is going on, you need to be fully aware. Now, there are some estates that are affected by the coastal road because of some privacy and a lot of restrictions. We will not be mentioning some of these estates, but what I can tell you basically is that I know a particular estate that the coastal road divided into two. So the next thing basically that you need to do, if you have spoken with your developer, if the developer is able to reallocate you, and I would say don't insist on that particular place. More importantly, the moment you find out that the ongoing Lagos Calabar Coastal Road is affecting your estate. Now, what most people don't understand basically is that there was a realignment of the coastal road. It was moved from where it was supposed to be from the original plan, and it was moved to a new alignment, a new road alignment, and the construction is ongoing. Now, this is my advice. If it is very, very possible, as a real estate investors, if you are investing, I would say do not go too close to the coastal road. That is another thing you need to understand if you are investing in this axis. Do not go too close to the coastal road. And if it is a must, okay, that you have to invest in that coastal road, it is very important, okay, that you work with a licensed surveyor. Now, one of the reasons why you need to work with a licensed surveyor basically is that whenever government are bringing opportunities to any region, I've said it in some of my videos that government projects in a particular location is a strong indicator, okay, that government interest is there. So government don't just put road in a place simply because they want to make life better for people. I'm not saying Nigerian government is selfish. What I'm trying to say in essence basically is that they don't just put road because they are Father Christmas. Whenever they are doing projects like that, they are always mindful, okay, of the fact that they also want to establish their presence. In fact, the last time I drove towards the Dangote refinery axis, surprisingly, I found out that there are some areas, large acres of land that Lagos state government, okay, have actually, reserved for their own developmental projects. And they also want to build low-cost housing estates because, you see, of course, that Ibeju Lekki is a gold mine, and everybody wants to have their own share, including the Lagos state government. So having some of these projects there are strong. So these are some of the things that you need to do if you have bought the area. So, and another suggestion basically is don't go too close. Now, because of the fact that there's a alignment of the road from where it used to be to a new location, I've seen some real estate development company going to where the road is supposed to be, and they are buying land very close to that place. Now, what you need to understand basically, or what I need to explain, is that if a place was originally designed by in the master plan to be a road network, and there was an adjustment, I would say that you should try as much as you can to avoid that place, because we all will testify or attest to this fact that Nigerian government cannot be predictable. So, and that is why I would say basically that if you want to do anything, whether very close to the coastal road or some meters away from the coastal road, ensure that you go with a registered surveyor that can help you count the landmarks and observe the necessary setback. And like I said initially, try as much as you can to stay clear from this location. I'm not saying you should stay off totally. Like for instance, now some will say our property is 5 minutes away from this ongoing Calabar Coastal Road. Now, the first thing I want you to have in mind basically is that government is still constructing the coastal road. I've explained some of these things to real estate investors, and I want them to understand that there are some things that happened when the construction is going on. Now, government is still constructing this coastal road. There's going to be a rail also in the coastal road, and of course in some of the alignment of the coastal road, we are going to have several toll gates and the likes. And so this obviously makes the location an interesting spot for real estate investors. Now, like I said, government is not just building because they want to make life better or something. They are building also to also register their own presence. So what you want to do basically is that if you're buying, if it is a must for you, okay, to invest, because I know a lot of real estate development companies are using that coastal road as an effective, marketing tools, to lure real estate investors. This estate is just 2 minutes away from the coastal road. This estate is directly facing the coastal road. Please, as you are investing, bear it in mind, okay, that you are supposed to leave some setbacks, and you are supposed to observe some necessary setback rules that is either stipulated by the Lagos State government or the federal government. Also, you also need to also pay attention that there are some locations or there are some spots in these coastal road areas that government will not release. And this is why you need to be very, very careful if you are buying in the Lagos Calabar Coastal Road. Now, in as much as fact that the coastal road basically is a catch, okay, for real estate investors, I admit the fact that it's a very good location for investment. Also bear it in mind that there are some unscrupulous or fraudulent elements that will use the coastal road to defraud a lot of real estate investors. Now, one of the fraud, okay, that will happen, I can give you a good afternoon. Good afternoon, welcome. Thank you for being part of the show. All right, so there are some things that will happen. So I can categorically give you a prediction of what you should expect as you are investing here. And one of such things basically is that there will be fraudulent sales of property. There will. Now, when you are investing in the Ibeju Lekki corridor, so at today's episode is going to be very, very brief because I'm going to be taking questions. In fact, before I started this live session, I got a lot of questions concerning this coastal road. In fact, one of the reasons why I decided to have the conversation about the coastal road was due to the fact that a lot of people have sent me messages and they said I should discuss this coastal road. And so we'll be going into further discussions by answering some questions of some real estate investors, people who have bought and people who are also willing to buy. Okay, now the fraudulent part of investment that you need to avoid if you are buying properties in the coastal road, the first thing you need to understand is that the coastal road has its advantage and it has its own advantages as well. And in a situation where you have discovered, okay, that the disadvantage of a particular property outweighs the advantages, then you need to be very, very careful and do your necessary fact check. Now, there's a particular real estate company that is marketing in that coastal road axis, and this particular company is advertising that particular area as government allocation C of O. Now, I did a video that by the special grace of God, I'll be releasing on Sunday, where I'll be talking about how you can identify a property that whose title is in view and a property with an approved title. So I have that video. I'll be uploading it by the special grace of God this Sunday. So if you are not subscribed to this channel, you have to, because I'm putting a lot of effort, and this effort is deliberate. And the reason why it is deliberate basically is that I hate it when I hear that people are scammed. I hate it. In fact, I feel so pain in my heart when I hear that people have worked different jobs. Some work through jobs, some worked in the winter, some worked through, different, whether pleasant and unpleasant weather, to raise funds. And there are some certain individuals somewhere who are looking forward to, rob you of your hard-earned money. And this is one of the reasons why we come online, to explain some of these things to you people, so that you can know how some of these things are. So, as I was saying, there are some people who will not have a title on the property. Now, I've had a lot of questions concerning property documentation, how to unravel if this particular company have the said title on the property. Yes, I've had interactions like that. I've had questions. But because of my time, okay, I don't intend to stay longer on this live session, because by the special grace of God, we're also going to be having this live session on Friday. By the special grace of God, we're going to be having this live session on Friday, and I'm going to be unraveling a lot of things, okay? So we're going to be having the live session. We're going to be having videos also uploaded on this channel, contributing more to some of these things. So if you are buying, now, if a developer says, I have a C of O, I have a government allocation, I have a government allocated C of O, these are some of the titles that I've heard of several times. And in as much as fact that some are genuine, some are not, we've been able to discover. But I discovered recently that some investors don't even know how to identify an exact C of O document from a C of O document that is presently in process. So I have a video to that effect. So we'll be discussing that on Sunday by the special grace of God. God willing, we're going to be talking about that on Sunday. So you want to stay tuned to this channel, because I'm going to be unraveling a lot of things that most real estate investors don't know. So the question basically now is that there are some estates whose C of O is in process. There are some that they have a C of O on the property, but the C of O is not registered in their name. There are some that they just applied for C of O and they have not paid government on the C of O they are advertising. The fascinating thing basically is that I can tell you I have a property that has a C of O document, okay? Because many people are fully aware that all what real estate investor cares about is, as long as the property has C of O, it doesn't, that's all. That's a lie. Now, I'm going to be unraveling a whole lot of things within the limited time. So please, if you have somebody who has bought Ibeju Lekki, or somebody who is ready to buy Ibeju Lekki, it is very important that you invite them to this live session, if the person is busy, try as much as possible to share this YouTube channel with them, because some of the informations that will be coming now will be of great importance and, of course, an enlightenment to so many people. Now, let's quickly talk about some companies that just filed for C of O. Now, when you filed for a C of O file number, okay, or when you apply for a C of O, some documents are given, okay, as an evidence, okay, that I've paid or I've applied, okay, I'm waiting for this. Now, I've seen instances that this particular set of individuals, okay, use that document to market it as actual title. So there are some certain things and important factors you need to know if you are buying, more importantly, in that coastal road area. There are some companies that they have applied, and one they have, okay, is what we call a demand notice. Now, a demand notice is one of the documents that is issued in areas where government projects are evident. More importantly, the Lagos Calabar Coastal Road. One important factor that every real estate investor needs to understand is that for the fact that they say they have it does not mean the property has been secured. I'm trying as much as I can not to go into what I want to explain on Sunday, but I'll just give you an highlight of some of the practices I personally have witnessed. A lot of people have reached out to me and they've said, this is what I've experienced, this is what I experienced, what can I do? Now, you see, in situations where you have chosen to invest through somebody else or invest through another company and you are facing some challenges, you know, there's a limit to what we can do. More importantly, if that situation does not turn out the way you expect. So, what do you need to do? The first thing is identify a company that have the genuine title, because you see, there's going to be a lot of advertisements rolling on your Facebook, on your Instagram. Of course, a lot of people are now going to TikTok, which is I consider to be fantastic. Rolling on your TikTok, on your YouTube, and every other social media platform. So everybody is trying to do one or two things to get investors' attention, which to me, I don't have a problem with that. If you must transact, make it a point of duty to only transact with people who have documents, verifiable documents. Why am I insisting on this? The first thing that you need to understand if you are investing in Lagos is due to the fact that some people are very, very desperate to sell. Now, I've said it before, everybody's selling Ibeju Lekki, but how many people are selling the right thing, or how many people are willing to do the right thing? The people today who are falling victims of demolitions are people who are falling of land being taken over by government, whether federal or state government. These are people, or let's say they might have bought, okay, from real estate development company who doesn't give a damn about what is happening to them. Hold on, please. Sorry for the breaking transmission. They might have bought, okay, from a real estate company that doesn't care. And that is why sometimes the government is enforcing some basic rules. It's always portrayed in such a way that government is trying to victimize. So we just don't criticize. We need to also look at our own fundamentals. So these are the disadvantages. So there will be dishonest people in the industry. So as a buyer, as an investor, your focus should be on who is doing the right thing. That's what you should focus on. So your focus should be, who am I going to invest with that I will not have problem? Who am I going to invest with that have shown me track record of excellence, that have shown me track record of consistency, and they have integrity. So you want to look at that as you invest, because you see, a lot of people usually say, as long as the property has C of O, that's all. That's not all, though. Do you know how many C of O properties that we have in the Ibeju Lekki corridor that are presently abandoned? Do you know that if you find yourself in a situation when you have invested with a company who doesn't give a damn about making you get value from what you have bought from, is a problem. Everybody is selling Ibeju Lekki. The truth of the matter is, not everybody can provide infrastructural development. So as you're buying, your focus and your emphasis should be on, I don't want to transact with somebody who's only interested in my profits, who's also interested in my money. Somebody that after selling all the infrastructure they promised in their adverts, they won't have it. So these are some of the things that, so it's not just about having the C of O. Of course, there's other sides to the C of O, which I'll be discussing by the special grace of God in subsequent videos, but let's talk about this. And this is why it is very important that if you are buying only because of price, you may have issues. I'm not saying that you should not buy what you cannot afford, though. No. Because you see, I've seen that one of the reasons why some people are having issues today is because they ignored value because of price. And you should also understand that prices is like a bait that a fisherman uses to lure fish from either the stream or the river. So in a situation whereby someone wants to get your attention, in some cases, they ensure that they sell at a ridiculously cheap price. That is not now to say that those that will sell expensive will also deliver value. And this is why it is very important that the integrity of the developer is very important. It is. Now, the reason why I'm saying this basically is that I have had ẹgbọmọdé lọ síta náà, ẹgbẹ́ lọ síta náà, tí ó ti tẹ́ àkókò nulẹ̀ ni. Apologies, my viewers. Hold on, please. So that is not to say that those who are selling expensive will also deliver value. That's my son. I needed to attend to him. That is not to say those who are selling expensive will also deliver value. So what should I look out for? Number one, look out for a company with a structure that will outlive the company even after the developer is not around. Now, if you're buying, now I'm not going to, there are some developers that I've worked with in 2020, 2021, 2022 that their result has been outstanding. Now, if I'm buying from a company, or if I'm choosing a company, what are their legacies and what is their administrative structure? So, and that's why sometimes I usually prioritize a company that has a board of directors. I usually prioritize a company that have shareholders. I usually prioritize a company that have what we call board of trustees. So what I'm trying to say basically is that I'm buying from a company who the MD is not a sole decision maker. And it has proven to be an effective strategy when you are choosing or when you're buying real estate. Now, it is very easier for companies that operate, they have the MD, they have the chairman, they have the board of directors, they have the board of trustees, they have, a reliable staff strength, they have a good administrative structures that even if the MD or the CEO is not around or something happens to the MD of the CEOs, your investment will not be at stake. It will not. And that is why it has become very, very important to look at this. I'm not saying you should not buy from other companies, but you see, the longevity of your real estate investment or every other investment that you are making in Ibeju Lekki is solely dependent. So as a real estate investor, you are looking at, because you see, the funny thing, of this conversation basically is that many of us are buying to land bank. But do you know that some people bought property in 2018, they bought property in 2019, they bought property in 2023, and today the companies are nowhere to be found. I'm telling you the fact. Today, in fact, when they started the Lagos Calabar Coastal Road, one of the basic things that happened was that the moment the road construction affected large part of estates, and I know a particular developer that sold phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, phase 5, phase 6. The moment the developer found out that his estate was affected by the coastal road and probably he does not have funds to repay, what happened? The developer left the country. Now, the question is, what's now going to be the faith of people who have bought into that project? The funny, the annoying thing basically is that people who bought into this project are thinking that in the next 5 years, in the next 6 years, and a lot of people will be disappointed when they find out that even the developer that sold to them is nowhere to be found. And so that is why, as a real estate investor, the administrative structure of the company. So it's not about the celebrities that is being used to advertise. It's about the administrative structure. So that is why I said it in one of my videos, that the safety of your investment is not only in the title. The safety of the investment is dependent on the brand. Because you see, as this project is beginning to unfold, this is just the first phase of the Lagos Calabar Coastal Road. There's going to be a phase where they're going to insert rail networks, where they're going to do a lot of things. So the question basically is that when the necessary enforcement begins to happen, and it peradventure affects some of the properties you have bought. Now, what is that assurance that the developer that sold to you can protect your investment even when government strikes? And that is why people don't, pay close attention to some of these things. As a person, as a real estate investor, of course, I'm also an investor too. There are some companies I will not buy from, not just because I hate them. No, I don't hate them. I don't hate anybody. But I've seen events, despite all of these things that is happening, it does not mean, that the company is bad. But you see, this is Nigeria when policies can change. This is Nigeria whereby government can. So you want to look at the developers you are buying from, how prepared these developers are to face and react appropriately to different government policies. You want to buy from a developer, even when you get to hear that your estate is affected, you are fully assured that the developer will handle that thing. There's this particular real estate developer we bought a property from, and I think there were some issues that happened. To my greatest surprise, this real estate developer sent a memo to all the investors that bought from him. He gave an extensive explanation on what is going on. He gave an extensive explanation on what they have done, what their lawyers, have suggested, the legal procedures, what they are going to do. The amazing thing basically is that this particular real estate developer provided an estate. The value of the estate that was provided is way, way higher. Imagine you buying a property of 20 million. Now, because of the fact that the property of 20 million that I sold to you is having some challenges, and because of the fact that I care about your trust, I value you, I'm allocating you to a property that is presently worth 35, 40 million. There are no real estate company will ever try that. But this particular developer did this. And a lot of it, so when the client got the memo, she spoke with me. She said, are you sure this guy is going to do what he's going to do? I said, look at the administrative structure. I went to the company's organogram. One of the things that even made me to insist that we buy from the company basically was that I found out that despite the fact that the man is the brain behind the company, he is not a dictator. He's not the sole decision maker. He has board of directors, board of trustees, board of management, in fact, administrative staff, some other things. So whenever there are situations like that, imagine the kind of decisions they will make compared to a sole proprietor who was just, or compared to a situation whereby it's just one person that is making decision. So these are the things you want to look out for if you're buying. Because if you're thinking long term, then you have to look at the structure of the organization. Now, it has been said predictably that some set of companies that were established, okay, that they will not survive 5 years. In as much as fact that many people chooses to say, God forbid, if I should start listing the names of real estate developers that sold some properties that are no longer in Lagos, that they've left, they've run out, you'll be amazed. So the setup, the organizational structure of that company is very important. So don't just buy from someone who's just interested in taking your money and is not ready to deliver value. So this is some of the things that, so in other words, what I'm trying to say in essence is that the safety, the security of your investment is not just based on the time. I've seen lands with C of O that are money till the next 4th, 5th generation, they are still disturbing. So it's not just about the title secures it from government, but who secures it from external factors, omonile, land grabbers, and the likes. So these are some of the things you need to look out for when you are investing. So these are some of the fundamental questions. Now, I'm not saying you should not buy. Basically, like for me, I have bought from wrong developers, and I can tell you what I've experienced. I can tell you how much I've lost. So it's not just about, so a lot of people are saying these and these and this. We've seen real estate developers relocate over some certain issues that if they had the board of trustees, board of managing directors, and the likes, they can share ideas. I believe some of who have the right solutions on how to solve issues. So these are some of the things. Now, what exactly are the advantages? The advantages is that it's opening up that area for development. It's opening up that area for advancement. It's opening up that area for trade. It's opening up that area for commerce. So it's a good area if you want to invest. Remember all I told you, work with us, work with a professional that will prioritize the safety over the hype. So these are some of the things. So I'm just going to take a brief pause now while I attend to some questions. So in case you have questions, the number is +234. Okay, the number is +234. I actually use that plus, okay, for the sake of those who might not be in Nigeria, who might be in the diaspora. +234 802 +234 802 132 7360. That's the number. +234 802 132 7360. Of course, it's also, you can send me a message on WhatsApp. So I have some couple of questions here that I'll be responding to in a jiffy. Okay, I have questions already on my WhatsApp, and I have questions there. So in case you have any form of questions, please, you are free to send it to us, and let us interact. My daughter, This girl. So these are some of the things. So if you have questions, please drop your questions. Let us interact. All right. Okay. The reason why I'm not be taking this particular question basically is due to the fact that this particular question called the name of the brand. Okay, please let me quickly sound this disclaimer before I go further. The aim of this live session or the aim of Property Matters is not to discredit any brand, and that's why you notice that for every of our sessions, live sessions, we don't mention names of companies. If you want to mention the name of your company, the moment I even see that you have mentioned the name of a company, because our aim is not to defame anybody. So if your questions confirms or you mention the name of everybody, we will not respond to that. Okay, so I have some couple of questions here, and I'll be responding to that very quickly. All right, so let's take it. So this particular says, what are the major indicators that a real estate developer might abscond? Wow. Okay, it's a very good question. Now when I make assertions or when I make comments like this, kindly bear in mind that I've been in the industry and we've had a lot of bad, good, and ugly experiences. But thank God for let's say our years of expertise in the industry. I can categorically tell you how we've been able to navigate and, of course, avoid troubled real estate transaction. The first thing basically that shows, okay, that a real estate developer intends to abscond from a particular property selling is that he doesn't give you a plan of what he intends to do. Now, I've had a lot of people ask me about the money I saying. Now, the truth basically is that Ibadan is a very wonderful location to invest in. Trust me. Kudos to the present governor of Oyo State in the person of Dr. Seyi Makinde. As a governor, I think is one of the best performing governor after I don't want to mention him. This is not a political talk show, but he's been doing tremendously well. So is Ibadan the best place to invest? Yeah, it's a very good place to invest, but just avoid buying from developer that will just put gates out and abandon it, because you see the actual value, okay, that is being projected can only be realized, okay, when the necessary infrastructures have been placed on that property, and that is where you can say that my property has appreciated from either 1 million to 2 million, because appreciation is based on infrastructures and, of course, proximity and demand. Okay, so the moment the developer can, now when you now say that a developer will provide infrastructure, now I've seen different instances of those who promise, okay, to provide infrastructures and they fail to live up to expectation. In scenarios like this, if a developer says, I'm going to give you a transformer, okay, if a developer says, I'm going to give you a children's playground, I'm going to do drainages, okay, and I'm also going to do this and that. The first thing you want to look at basically is that you want to have a rough estimation of how much it costs to put these infrastructures in place. The next thing you also want to find out basically is that how soon does he intend to start that infrastructural development? Because there is some real estate development company as far back excuse me, as far back as 2018, 2019, who promised 24 hours electricity in a sorry, can I get water, please? In a place whereby they've not had light for close to 10 years. Now, what I'm trying to say in essence basically is that if you are buying If a developer says, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I think the first thing you should do is to enter a memorandum of understanding of the project, okay, and have a signed agreement. The reason why I'm saying this basically is that some Lagos real estate developers are not meant to be trusted. Please, let me get water, please. All right. Sorry for that. Sorry for that. So in other words, what I'm trying to say is that some Lagos developers are not meant to be trusted. Some, not all. Because when they say, I am going to provide this, you want to confirm if it is not a marketing strategy to get you to invest from them. There were those that promised 24 hours electricity. Even the land is not even at the moment, excuse me, even the land at the moment, okay, it's not even available. Excuse me, please. I don't want coffee. Is this thing? Sorry about this. Okay. All right, we can continue now. Sorry for that. God punish them. Apologies for that. There are some words I'm not meant to say that anyway. So as I was saying before the break in transmission, what I'm trying to say in essence is that some have promised some infrastructures as a strategy of marketing. Like for instance, 24 transformer. There were some who promise recreational ground. Some will promise good road network. Some will promise, what else? Drainages. Some has promised. Now, the reality of this thing is that, how much is my development fee? Are you providing this infrastructure in, are we having something like a memorandum of understanding between myself as a developer and the government? Because you know that the reality basically is many of these guys have promised heaven and earth and they've delivered nothing. When they talk about nothing, I mean absolutely nothing. So you want to be sure that you're not falling into the hand of developers that will make empty promises as a means of getting your money. Then after you've bought 1, 2, 3 years, no sign of anything on the property. Because you see, you need to understand that are these guys trying to take my money, or are they trying to use the property to raise funds to do another project? Because that has been the circumstances and situations of some real estate investors today. So you want to look at that. Okay, I think I've answered that question. Sorry for the break. God punish it. And these are just some of the things that happen whenever I'm online. So the next question I have basically is, what is the standard measurement, okay, of determining setbacks in Lagos? Oh, that's that's a fantastic question. The standard measurement of determining first. Okay, so I'm going to discuss the one I know because from what we have discovered from our years of experience and operations, we found out that measuring setback differs. Okay, I know of beachfront. I think beachfront is 50 meters away from the water. If it is lagoon, I think lagoon is between 30 to 40 meters away from the water. These are setbacks. Okay, from the road, I think it's also 50 meters. I will also confirm that, and of course, I'll do a detailed video explaining this. So the measurement differs. So you want to be very, very certain to know which one is applicable where you are buying, because it differs. Like for instance, this, and the measurement is also dependent, okay, on the type of infrastructures that is being. Like for instance, now government want to erect a bridge. Of course, they will definitely not use the setback measurement for a bridge, for a road. And if it's a road, it determines on the kind of road, if it's a 4-lane road, if it's a dual carriage road, if it's a regional carriage road. So you need to understand basically that you need to it varies. Okay, it varies from location to location. And another thing that also determines that as well basically is the topography, and of course the plan government has for that area. Okay, so we want to look at that as well so that we can have a thorough understanding. Okay, so I have another question. Okay, this is almost 4 o'clock. Okay, so I have another question. This one said, I bought a gazetted land in Ibeju Lekki in 2018. With the construction of the coastal road and the airport, what will be the fate of my property? The first thing I would say is a big congratulations to you for investing, because as I'm talking to you right now, titled properties in Ibeju Lekki right now are hot cake. They are choice properties at the moment. So secondly, if you have gotten your documents, okay, what you should do basically is that you can, of course, seek the consent of a lawyer and then start making plans on how you can get it. Of course, with your gazette, okay, you can file in for a governor's consent, and don't wait, please start doing it as soon as possible. Congratulations on your purchase. These are some of the news I want to be hearing. Okay, so I also have another question here on my WhatsApp. Okay, I have another question here on my WhatsApp, and I'll be responding to it very quickly. I have some questions. So this question says, what do I need to do if the developer fails to perfect the C of O? Wow. Okay. What do I start from? or what do I explain? Okay. When else you are buying, apart from this, please have some level of understanding and agreement with the developer. That's the first thing you should do. Then the second thing, basically, because I did a live broadcast, I think a few months ago, and I got several calls that, can you help me perfect my land? I have in Folu, I have 3 acres somewhere, I have 4 acres somewhere. Ade, can you help me? The first thing, I think I said this before, and I have to say it again. I am not a surveyor. I am not a lawyer. I'm just like an experienced individual with the required knowledge for real estate investment. So for the fact that I say this does not mean I'll take your document and I'll take you to Alausa or go to the required offices to start. So I have to say this again. I'm not a surveyor. I'm not a lawyer. So I'm just an experienced and, of course, an exposed real estate investor who is aware of some of these, regulations and can give you, the right investment. So basically, if you are bought from a developer that you have observed that is not ready to do the title, I think the first thing you want to do basically is you to find out why the developer is not doing the title, and of course get a surveyor on site to confirm the status of the property, if it is still the way it was as at the time you bought, and you start perfecting on your own. So someone said, what is the cost of doing a governor's consent? Okay, I can't give an estimated figure. I can't. I can't. But what I can say basically is that if you are doing a governor's consent on a land, let's say the property is at Abramade Soya. I know someone that did his own last year for I think 2.5 million. Yeah, 2.5 million, and of course signed. So it differs. It differs. So, and also it's also dependent on who is handling the entire process. So these are some of the fundamental questions. So what are the the advantages of the coastal road? What are the advantages of the coastal road? The first important advantage of the coastal road basically is that the coastal road will change the face of activities in the Ibeju Lekki axis. So let's start by looking at, so if I say it's going to change the face of investment in Ibeju Lekki, what exactly am I saying? It's going to bring in both foreign and local real estate investors. At the moment now, there are some properties I have within those axes, and they are good. They are good. And for the fact that a lot of people are trooping there, it makes it even much more competitive. Today now, if you approach families that want to sell, that may have maybe a few plots to sell in that axis right now, the condition for sales right now is crazy. And the basic thing, or the basic reason for that, is just the fact that the demand right now is very, very massive. For a place that used to be a deserted location, a place that is viewed as, okay, it's mostly commoners, that place right now is gold. So it has the coastal road has ushered tremendous attention and focus on that area. Number two, it has encouraged economic development also in that place right now. Now, when we talk about economic development right now, the people of Ibeju Lekki, the educated ones that may have, the required certifications to get a job right now, if you reside in Ibeju Lekki and you're an indigene, you're qualified, you can easily secure any of the Dangote's position or work in the free trade zone or any part of, companies that may be there. So we have job opportunities right now. And the impact of this basically is not based on the fact that people now choose to live there. When during the era of, I think, when President Muhammadu Buhari, during his era, wanted to, inaugurate the Dangote refinery, there used to be an hotel. It's a local hotel, not four star, five star. So I think I've had meetings in that same hotel. So not that the 3-star or the 4-star, it's just a normal hotel. And a friend of mine who is a journalist who wanted to cover the event needed to rent a room for the night. He got there around 2 p.m. and all the rooms of this hotel were booked. So he was fortunate enough to get one, and he was being charged times 3 of the normal price. Now, the activities of the free trade zone, the refinery, and other projects, more importantly, the international airport right now, has increased rental value in Ibeju Lekki. Right now, there's a place where I have my office. As at that time I was there, they usually rent 1 bedroom, self-contained, room and parlor as is usually called. They usually rent for 400, 300. In fact, you even see for 250. Presently, right now, room and parlor there is over 800,000. 2 bedroom right now in Ibeju Lekki is 1.5 million. Imagine what it will be 2-3 years from now. So it has ushered rental opportunity. So if you own rental properties in Ibeju Lekki right now, this is when you should be making money, because that's just the reality of what is happening right now. So okay, this person asked question: did you see the campaign of Lagos residents clamoring against housing agents? Do you think government will regulate? Okay, I saw that campaign too, and though government are beginning to enforce some basic regulations about charging 10% for agency, charging 10% for agreement, collecting some amount of money for for caution fee. Now we're yet to see the appropriate thing government will be doing, but I can tell you basically that things are beginning to change. But trust me, it won't affect the prices of rents because uh, landowners or house owner place value on their property based on the infrastructure and the facilities that they have provided on that property. Oh, okay. I don't want to go beyond this time. I think I've overstayed my time. This is 60 minutes. I don't intend to go beyond that. So I want to start by saying a very big thank you to everybody that have joined us in this live stream. Um, Thank you very much for your question, and I apologize if I'm unable to take some of your questions. I really need to get back to site. I just quickly stopped by to just make this video, and also to solicit for your support. If you are watching this video for the first time or you're watching this live stream, this is King Scott TV. Please do well to subscribe if you have not, and share this live broadcast. Of course, you've seen what we've discussed here. Trust me, you don't, you certainly don't want to miss any part of it. So I'm going to be calling it a wrap now, but I want to start by appreciating everybody that have joined this live stream. And like I said, if you want to invest in any part of Ibeju Lekki based on some of the things I've said, you can work with us. Okay, I will put you through the right channel. And on Friday, I'm going to be talking about some other part of investments that is obviously not Ibeju Lekki. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate this, and catch you guys on Friday. Bye for now.